Hello everyone, welcome to Something New. Many of you will know that for the past year or so we've been doing videos called 3-Minute Theology, looking at crucial doctrines of the Christian faith. And I hope that these were an immense blessing to you, that you grew through what was communicated and produced. There's something new that we're starting today, is another collection of videos that will look at some influential people from Christian history, particularly since the 1500s. And I'd like to call it 3-Minute Biographies. Original name, I know, but there may be times where these videos will go a little longer than 3 minutes, but I hope that you will bear with me. The resource that I'll be using mainly is this book called 50 People Every Christian Should Know by Warren Wiersbe. We will look at the life of people like Matthew Henry, George Whitefield, John Charles Ryle, Hudson Taylor, Dwight Moody, Amy Carmichael, Oswald Chamber and A.W. Tozer, just to name a few. And I'll throw in a few others from other resources from time to time. Let's kick things off with a look at a lady called Katherine Von Bora. You may have heard of a man named Martin Luther who started the Reformation in the 1500s by nailing his 95 Theses to the door of the Catholic Church in Wittenberg. But you may have never heard of Katherine Von Bora. Katherine was born on January 29th, 1499 in Germany, and her mother died when she was just 5 years old, so her father enrolled her in a boarding school. And then when she was 9, she was placed in a Cistercian convent at Nimschen. On October 8, 1515, she was officially married to Christ and became a nun. This was just 2 years before Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the door of the church in Wittenberg and began a movement that would change the world. As the Reformation swept across Germany, many monks and nuns sought to escape their convents and monasteries. Many of these monks and nuns that did escape were found and severely punished and brought back to even worse bondage. 12 nuns at the Nimschen convent where Katherine was got word to Luther that they wanted to get out, and he arranged for their escape. On October 5th, 1523, a brave merchant and his nephew drove a wagon load of oak barrels into the convent. They put the 12 nuns into their own individual barrels and drove away. 3 of the 12 were taken back to their homes, while the other 9 were taken to Wittenberg. Katherine was among these 9. And 2 years later, all of the girls were married to godly men except for Katherine. Luther did his best to match her up with a godly man, but to no avail. And after another 2 years of waiting, Katherine let Dr. Luther know that if he were to ask her to marry him, she would not refuse. And so Katherine and Dr. Luther were married in 1525. It would not have been easy in the first years of marriage to turn a neglected convent where they lived into a comfortable home, or to turn an energetic preacher and pastor into a patient husband and father. But Katherine was very exemplary as a wife. Katherine cared for the home, milked cows for milk, butter and cheese, and started a piggery, grew vegetables for the table and planted an orchard, all while caring for 6 children of her own, her niece and nephew, 11 of Luther's nieces and nephews, and many students who boarded with them over time. Katherine not only cared for her household, but was well known for her care of the community as well. She shared her produce with the community, cared for them in sickness and administered medicine, listened to problems and advised in business matters. And one of the well-known books of Martin Luther was called The Table Talk of Martin Luther. And if you read it, keep in mind that it was Katherine who made this book possible. It was at her table that these conversations around theology and Christian life were had and recorded. And there are a great many other things that could be said about Katherine Von Bora, namely Luther as well, but we're well over time. Katherine was a great pastor's wife and served her husband sacrificially alongside of her community so that he could minister to the church. She passed away due to ill health in 1552. Now, I take my hat off to pastors' wives, but also women everywhere that make houses into homes, food into meals, and words into encouragement, and serve alongside of their husbands. And I leave you with the question of, what have you done to encourage a woman who is a great example to you lately? What have you done to encourage a woman, or the woman, who serves your household sacrificially? There's a thought.